Hey everyone. I say everyone, me. So picking up from what I did yesterday, um, just for a short bit, just to see what this is like. I've got a slightly new layout going on. Um, Again, I've been toying with stuff around Twitch for some time now. I've just never quite got around to doing it. Um, So yeah, just a quick catch up. So Light is RPG, um, Destiny kind of stuff, but on a tabletop, very lightweight, lovely. The inspiration is just mwah. Um, Plan for a 20 something session campaign, maybe shorter, maybe longer. I don't know, but the general premise is um, start the player characters, the beacons off, doing something like they're establishing a forward outpost or something fairly routine, innocuous. They do that. There's a bit of a challenge there, but they get through it. And then so initially, as I was writing this down yesterday, the control campaign was going to be in two parts, split up by the arrival strike, which then introduced the Nove, um, kind of like the Taken slash Darkness in Destiny 2, which then affects the map and how things go, and then you go back to the control campaign and how things have changed. So the players now have access to shade subclasses, things like that. So they can now use the dark instead of just the light, stuff like that, and then having that final lightfall strike when the time is right, when the feeling is right. The idea to have that lightfall strike, kind of rounding out the campaign. That's the general idea. However, since doing that video yesterday, I've thought a little bit more about, rather than doing a control campaign and being like, okay, do a strike on each location, actually having either basing stuff on the. Oh, what have I done? Edit, redo. What was that? Anyway, okay, got it. Instead of control campaign part one, maybe it's a case of doing a couple of strikes each for the established enemy factions, so that you have a couple of strikes against the Corvus, you have a couple of strikes against the Windswept or Reavers, whatever they're called, the Surge, the Ruin. Each of those kind of gets a little bit of focus and a kind of like they're trying to do this thing, the beacons come in and just completely smash them. They're across the system, they're doing stuff, and just setting up the premise that the beacons find out about these things, go in, stop them, and trying to maintain the soul system as humanities rather than these invading forces. Then having the arrival strike, which introduces the fifth enemy faction, being the Nove, and then how that impacts the system as a whole. So then we kind of span out to the control campaign, is what I was thinking yesterday, and I've said all that. So now let's write it down. Okay, let's put that in it's heading 1. Cool. Strikes against the 4 enemy factions, stopping their machinations for in soul. Okay. go. So we've got Corvus. Windswept, Ruin, and Surge. So that would be a case of coming up with 2, maybe 3 strikes that are sequentially related for each enemy type in a kind of a miniature plot, which again relates back to Destiny quite well. It's something that I can wrap my head around in trying to emulate. Yeah, okay, cool. So let's go with that. And then we have the Arrival Strike. That changes up the campaign a bit. We go, oh, there's something else here. And what happens then that affects the campaign as a whole. Now that I've said this, though, actually, I quite like having the setup of the control campaign, the map being there. I wonder, is it worth setting up the map at the beginning, and even though we're not strictly going to be doing those mechanics to begin with, or are the strikes that I've just written down not worth doing in this particular context? Have I overcomplicated this more? I'm gonna copy that, pop that here. Part 1. We're gonna drop that, and we're just gonna put in or strikes. Cool. Okay, so there, I think I need to dwell on that a little bit more. Now, going on to this one though, so going back up to here, so Foundation and Shard are third-party modules that were released for Light, part of the Light Jam a couple of years ago now. I like it as a way to introduce things. It's sort of a control. The Shard stuff is sort of a control light, LITE. Like it's a smaller version before actually the control module came out. So, but that is based on Destiny 2. Oh, Shards of the Traveler, and being able to rekindle your light there, and basically building a settlement around it, and actually looking at some of this stuff, and then looking at Nova, Gila RPG, one of Gila RPG's other projects. Again, spoke about it in the previous video. You can see a lot of similarities and how things have evolved, and Nova is something I'm really keen on. I got the PDF. I didn't get the physical book, but I got the PDF. I love it. Love just reading through it, and the general premise of it is really fun. What I think I struggle with a little bit, because everything else is there for me. The player characters just having powers is really cool, but it's not quite the story that I want to tell. I don't know. Like, there's a lot mechanically in Nova. I'm going on I'm going on a tangent here. There's a lot that I like in Nova. There's a lot that Nova refines from this version of Light, and I'll be interested to see what Light Beacon Edition does in terms of updating from this pre-Lumen SRD version, which is based on Nova and Nova and stuff. I'd like to see what happens, what Spencer does. But this as is, I don't know. I might crack open Nova and just take some inspirational bits in terms of maybe some of the mission prep or setting fluff or something. I think that could be good. But as it is, right, back to what I was doing. Foundation Strike. So this is about finding a shard of the Great Orb and establishing a new settlement or a forward base or something like that. You go and do that. So we can still put the control campaign map out there. So you've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, Mars, and the Belt. And then you establish what factions mainly operate there. Of the big factions, then you've got, like, in patrol zones, you've got smaller factions there that kind of give you bounties and stuff like that. So actually, you can combine all of these things together, which I think is what I'm going to do over time here. But yeah, okay, no, Foundation Strike. So you go in, you're setting up a new base somewhere. The enemy faction, the enemy that it includes in the strike is something called a glitch, and it's interesting, but I expect I could probably fold it in under the surge or something like that, because I don't want to introduce additional bad guy factions, because that's going to get a bit unruly. Having 4 or 5 that you kind of pick up with strikes and whatnot is going to be enough as it is. I think I'm only one man. I'm not a team of experienced writers. So anyway, so I might adjust that from being the glitch as per the strike pages, and put that in under surge or something. So Guardians go and set up an outpost by a shard of the Great Orb, or whatever I adjust the story to be. I don't know how close we want to go to Destiny from this. I'd like to lean into the non-IP stuff. The stuff that has been written here. It's kind of more generic, that you can play a bit more with. So I want to do that. So it might discard the Shard of the Traveller thing. I might make it some other MacGuffin. Not quite a Shard of Sunlight like it is in Nova, where the sun explodes, but it doesn't explode like we expect a sun to explode. It explodes into crystals that go all across the system. Anyway, Nova's great. Check it out. It's a good read. I've played it once, and I've watched an actual play of it. It's good fun. It's lightweight. It's quick. It's action packed. Yeah, but that's not what I'm doing. I'm focusing on Light, John. Come on, get to it. This is going to be a long, ongoing rehearsal practice thing for me of getting into this, staying on track, presenting one thing, keeping to it in mind. It's going to be an uphill battle, but this is what I'm trying to do. So that's Foundation Strike. I'm just going to say scrap glitch, make surge instead. Yeah. Cool. Foundation strike. So control campaign. So at least one sec. So yeah, actually, let's do that. Let's look at that, shall we, for a second? So let's build this out. We've got insert table. Let's do that for now. So we've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, Mars, not Mart, Belt, faction, invading enemy. And actually, maybe we want to put in a column to the left. That's going to be score. Really, what I should be doing is showing you guys the PDF while we're doing this. I might pop this over here, zoom out a little bit, just go back to normal, close that, and then binder. Here we go. So we're going to go right. So this is the control module PDF. What I did, because otherwise I was opening a dozen different PDFs, I basically got all of them and I combined them into one. In this particular instance, I've moved things around. So we've got the main light PDF, and then I've got in the pages from Kindle and some of the pages from Dusk are here as well, because that's all about character creation. You've got the shade version stuff here, dark gifts, shatter, fractal, wither to go along with Colossus, Stalker, Witch, or the subclasses of each: bonfire, thunder, graviton for Colossus, or slinger, strider, and veil for Stalker. And then for the Witch, you've got Phoenix, Voltaic, and Entropath. That's part of Kindle. Then you've got Dusk here, and then we've got Forge for the armor. We've got Vulcan here. We've got the Lighthouse and the factions stuff goes here. We've got Nemesis, the enemies. We've got the strike page from Light, and then we've got the fuel module from the season pass goes in here as well. So that's a few extra pages, kind of builds upon it. Then we've got control. So control, basically, we start off with a map, which is, there we go, this map here. We've got Mercury, Venus, Earth, Moon, the Belt, Mars. And each one has a holding faction, an invading enemy, and then a score from -3 to +3, which represents its stability within the system. As you perform strikes and you succeed, that is a positive thing, so you increase the stability. As you lose a strike or what have you, the stability becomes negative. So there's a balancing act going on here, which is really interesting and part of the whole thing of why I really wanted to bring it in as part of play. And then at some point, as per the seasons that Spencer put out, there was a strike for the arrival of the Nova. Anyway, and then so I thought, oh well, that would then impact the campaign map, because then you start adding in this new enemy type and how it affects things. And then when everything's either getting too desperate, or what have you, you know, the campaign's either doing, everything's running really well and it feels like, okay, we need to wrap up, or everything's getting really out of hand, okay, we need to wrap up, then coming in with the Lightfall Strike. So yeah, I mean, I'm doing all this prep. I don't know when or how I'm going to play this. I don't know who I'm going to play it with. Again, probably a little bit too late, but spoilers for anyone watching. If you play with me, or even if you don't and you're interested in Light, kind of spoilers, I guess. But if you're interested in Light, there's a good chance that you're already familiar with Destiny. So I don't know how much of a spoiler it really is. Anyway, okay, so now what I wanted to do, actually, going back to the table in the document, I've also got the patrol zones here. So what we've got is Mercury Faction, the Brain Trust. They're not one of the whatever factions, but in the core, but that's fine because all of this can be adjusted, because we can say Brain Trust plus whatever other the wardens, or whatever they're called, the prison. What? No, thank you. Parasite. I know that's okay, because Earth doesn't have a patrol zone. House of Dust. Phoenix Brigade. So here, what we can do is either, to begin with, because patrols have a couple of different things that happen, and they establish where there's one or two different enemy types. So we could have here so come to the right. Enemy 2, so we could have Ruin, and we could have researchers at Gamma trying to fix the arrays, keeping them messed with. Suspect Reavers. Cool. Ruin, Reavers out in the belt. Patrols Mars are Windswept. Okay, so Windswept and Reavers are different. I think I was considering them to be, the Reavers to be a replacement name. Oh, this one's got 3. And Surge. Sure. Why the chuff not, hey? Okay, and then we're going to go here. We're going to go Ruin. Reavers. C4, this one's interesting. So this is actually that's kind of open to the GM to put down. That's interesting. Cool. So we're going to go here, and we've got the surge. Corvus Reavers. Corvus Ruin. Okay. Again, I think, with Earth, it's kind of a hodgepodge of everything, temporarily. I think the premise is that, I mean, again, not wanting to take too much from Destiny directly, where in the case of Destiny, it would be there's a small bit there's some hive, but not that much, but it's mostly the Fallen or the Elixni on Earth, or in this case it might be the Windswept. But I think I like the idea of having Earth just being like constantly like the different enemies just trying different things so you're going on different strikes to prevent all of these footholds from happening. I think I like that idea best for Earth. Yeah. Okay. So we've got that, and that. Let's just make this a little bit smaller, and this a little bit smaller. This a little bit smaller. There we go. Cool. Okay, so I think this will do for now. Thanks for being with me on this lovely little journey as I continue working this out. Until next time, see you later.